actually in the screen?
Yep, you're right in the bullseye middle. And it's recording. I don't like it.
Why?
Because you're not smiling or anything.
Well, I'm not ready to shoot yet. All right there, everyone. FG back at you again. This is a real fast intro just to let you know what's going on here. This is going to be a video for LED strip lighting installed in the bed underneath of the tonneau cover. It's pretty dark under there. Actually, even during the daytime, if you don't roll it all the way back, it can be pretty hard to see what's happening in there. So it's a very cheap project. My total cost, I think, was below $20, if I remember correctly. So, well, there's some things to be said for Chinese-produced products. Anyway, we're not going to go there today. And let me just go ahead and get rolling right into the video. And let me show you what I did. And stay with me for the ride. Catch you soon. All right, so as I had mentioned earlier, here we go. Here's the actual beginning of the install. So this is a fitting that I picked up at Lowe's. This is used for hooking a flexible conduit through a metal panel or wood or anything like that. It's basically a bulkhead pass-through. That is going to go right up in here through this hole that I drilled behind the taillight. You can see there's already a wire here, which is the power connection that runs up over to here from one of the earlier projects. I think you probably recall that, the USB charger and 12-volt port. And so you might be asking, hey, why didn't you just tap off of that? Well, now this is actually running 12 volts through a dedicated fuse, which is hot at all times. So it goes to the battery eventually after making its way through a couple fuses. And so this one here, the wiring's going to come through, and it's going to go, and it's going to be switched with the ignition. That way I don't accidentally leave the lamps on. And here you can see them where I ran that down underneath of the tonneau cover on the underside of the rail that came with the tonneau that was actually already installed when I got the truck. The previous owner had put that on. So kudos to him. Thank you very much, because these things are rather expensive. These are the same exact ones, actually, that I used over here on the side of the truck. Now they're a bit dirty right now, so they're probably not going to look exactly the same, but they've been really good. I've had no problems with them being wet, mud, anything else. They seem to handle it very well. So even though they're Chinese specials, I feel pretty confident in their ability to handle what I'm dishing out. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on working and running the wiring through here. And I'm actually going to take the power for these and run them off of my trailer connector, which is down below under, well, yeah, you can't see it right now because the tailgate's flipped down, but that was another project. If you go through my project videos, was adding a 7-pin trailer connector, and that goes on and off with the key. So I'm going to take the power from there, and I'm just going to tap into the back side of that connector and go ahead and run up through here through the taillight pocket and connect my wiring up. So I will see you in a few minutes. Alright, so we're back. We made some progress here. I've got the fitting mounted there inside, and I ran the control switch. This is a switch that came with the harness, and if I come back over here, you'll see that they provided an inline fuse holder, which is really nice, with a 3 ampere micro fuse. And so this is basically all set up to do all the wiring here, and I need to just go ahead and pull everything through. So what I had to do here, the switch was too big to fit through the fitting, so I had to clip the wire and go ahead and just solder the red and the black back together. It was just a 2-lead simple system, just like this, simple single circuit 12 volts, except this wire was pretty thin. So I went ahead and wrapped it with 2 layers of electrical tape after I put my shrink wrap on it. As much for chafe and abrasion resistance as to actually strengthen the wire, because like I said, it's pretty thin. Here's a piece that was stripped off. This is the outer covering. This is what came off of there. That's the sheathing. Let me see if I can get that turned so you can see how tiny the hole is where the wires were sitting inside. So there's really not much. They were like thick hairs, so I had to be very careful pulling those and soldering everything back together. Obviously this is only carrying milliamps of current, so the Chinese engineers and manufacturers decided that they didn't need to spend extra money on copper. And yeah, I get it. Copper's expensive, and if you build a couple billion of these things, that's going to start to add up to some real money once in a while. So that's where we're at right now. Go ahead, and I put some 3M double-sided tape here on the back of the switch. I'm going to go ahead and just mount that right up in here in the track, which I think would be a really great place. It's extremely safe. Nothing should ever hit it. It's recessed above my tool carrier, so you can see from one of the other projects. Let me zoom back a little bit. There you can see the electrical outlet, and this is where the axe hangs usually. I just moved the axe out of the way so I didn't chop myself with it while I was working. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the switch down in place, and then come back around here, run that wiring down underneath of the bumper, and tap into that trailer hitch connector. And that's going to be the end for this project. Should be ready for testing pretty soon. Catch you in a few. Alright, so as sometimes happens with this project, I decided to change directions a little bit. So here is the harness down inside the taillight housing hole, as it was before. I went ahead and tapped off my ground by just splitting the factory harness here a little bit. And here you can see the LED bulbs that I've replaced the taillight and reversing lights with. That was another project shown in a different video. Anyway, quickly to run back to recap. So what I decided to do here instead was open up that little power box that I have in the back here. So I was thinking, did I really want to have the key on or the engine running all the time if I wanted lights back here? And I realized that since this thing actually has a power switch and circuit breaker in the front, usually I keep the lid shut completely, which automatically engages the switch, or I should probably say disengages the switch, and turns off the power. So even though it's hot at all times on this main wire coming in, the sockets themselves are down. So I am just going to tap right off of here, which is the 12-volt supply to the 5-volt USB chargers. And you can see where I pulled the new circuit through there and just brought it on down and soldered right to the end. I'm just going to push that plastic cover back in place, which is an insulator, and I'm going to wrap everything up, screw it back in place, and this project is complete. I will show in a few minutes everybody what the lighting looks like on and off. So hold on, be back with you in a moment. Okay, so here we are. It's not actually dark out yet, but the tonneau cover's closed, so it's pretty dark in here. So here, let me give you an idea. Lights out. See, now the camera, of course, is also adjusting for the darkness. By eyeball, the fuel tank there on the side is almost invisible as far as being shadowed. So this is not really giving a true representation of actually how dark it is underneath the ear. Anybody that owns a truck with a tonneau cover knows what a cave it is when it's closed, even in the daytime. And switch on. Now you see everything clearly, and I think this is going to work out really nice at night. Now the only kind of a snag that I ran into, for full disclosure, I'm going to show you back here in the corner, if you can see that, is the LED strips are too long for the truck. If you have a long bed, they'd probably be great, at least for the sides anyway. So they're kind of hanging down. I have to figure out exactly what to do with that. They have wiring at both ends, so it's not really easily possible to shorten them. It may be in some way possible. I have not looked in really far to that idea yet, but I'm not sure that I want to do that because these were pretty cheap, and I don't think that I want to bust them up. So the idea of possibly trying to cut them and then finding out that I actually broke them after all that glue, 3M tape here, it's not something that I'm super really in love with as far as an idea, so I think I'm just going to see if I can figure out a way to tidy up the corners a little bit more, and probably just leave it like that. That's going to be it. So you can see here, if I take a shot down the runner, how it lights up the whole bed really nicely. And the switch here is just hidden up inside the rail with some 3M tape. And just click that and off they go. And then I turn off my main, which is actually a circuit breaker slash switch. It actually does dual functions. And that's it. So lights out. And speaking of lights out, this is lights out for the end of this video, and until next time, this is FG out. Go ahead and enjoy your evening and your weekend. It's actually, well, it's only Tuesday, so I'm probably not enjoying a weekend yet unless you're getting a long one. But as I always like to say, hey, there's still a big world waiting, and now that finally the mask mandates are mostly relaxed pretty much just about everywhere, and people are starting to get back to doing things. We're back to having a life again, thank God. So get out there and see the world. It's still a big world, and it's still waiting for you. Until next time, signing off.